I spent $1,700 on this box of NES games. Why would I spend so much on some old video games? Well, how are you feeling? You got John Riggs here, and apparently I have a problem, and the problem is, even though I have all the games I'll ever want, I have a Raspberry Pi, I have a Mister, I have an EverDrive, I have a programmer where I can make my own repros, and still, here we are, in a video where I'm holding a box of Nintendo games that I paid $1,700 for. Why would I do this to myself? Well, to put simply, a friend of mine reached out to me saying, hey, my friend found all of his old Nintendo games in his attic. They've been sitting there marinating for years, untouched. And he showed me a photo, and he knew what he had. He had some heavy hitters, some bangers, some rare titles, some expensive games, the good stuff. And I was like, ask him if he'll accept this amount of money for all of the games all at once, which is not something I typically do, I promise. And not too much later, I got an email back saying, yeah, he'll accept. I was like, all right. See, I didn't know if he was like selling them. He was just like, hey, look what my friend found in his attic. And I was like, that's actually very, very cool. That'd be an awesome find, right? And some of the games in here, and I'll show you all the games that came with it. Is it worth it? Well, I mean, to me it is, and I'll tell you my reasoning when I show you the games. And then on top of that, I also spent $350 on this box of Nintendo games. Why am I doing this to myself? I have a problem. I need to stop. But again, I have a reason behind it, and I want to show you what games came in this box as well. There's some really good ones in here too. And this is courtesy of a friend of mine saying, hey, I'm slimming out my collection. I don't need these anymore. I have a few leads on some of the games. And then I was like, all of the games that are left over, let's figure something out. So you don't have any games left. I mean, like, yeah, like sell the heavy hitters to the people who need those for their collections. That's fine. And then whatever games you don't sell, let me know, because I can sell these on Whatnot. But yeah, it's an auction app I love using. It's a great community. If you're not on the Whatnot app, use my link in the description below, because we both get $10 on your first winning auction. And in fact, you can use that $10 to buy some of my games here. That's right, they're my games now. Thanks, Will. And then this little humble Toda games, I worked out a trade. No cash needed. I got some games in trade for something from a lot of my local friends, Brandon. Before we get to those big boxes, here's what I picked up here. Starting off with the classic Shaq Fu, gotta have it. The very cool looking Virtual Racing for the Sega Genesis. Friday the 13th, a very clean copy of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Pinball Quest, love this one. POW Arcade Classic. I prefer Tetris 2 over the first Tetris. Tiny Toon Adventures, what? Looking forward to the new Willow season on Disney+. Wizards and Warriors, love this game. The Obscure Overlord. Breakthrough from Data East. Of all games, I have fond memories playing Addams Family for the NES. How about Hudson Hawk? Originally purchased for $3.99. It looks like a kid's game, but I love Mappyland. Personal favorite Karnov from Liquor Video Warehouse, apparently. Here's Kid Cool, little chip down there, no problem. I recently just featured King's Knight on one of my videos. And finally, Kickle Cubicle. And even funnier, this exact copy of Kickle Cubicle, this literal one, was mine originally. It was my extra copy, and I traded it to Brandon for something else, and I just traded it back and got another copy of Kickle Cubicle. Why not? And you'll be seeing these on Whatnot very soon. Fortunately, with the priority box, it was just enough games so it fit in that box perfectly, especially when you add the bubble wrap. And it's kind of nice too, because when you buy stuff, I haven't spent money on bubble wrap in years. I recycle everything. So is this box worth $350? Well, let's find out. Well, Dragon Warrior 4, along with the manual, map, and enemy guide. Pretty decent way to start a lot, if you ask me. We got games like Zelda 1 and 2. Castlevania, can never go wrong. Another personal favorite, Little Nemo the Dream Master. More Capcom Disney favorites like DuckTales and Rescue Rangers. The kind of obscure Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates. Bard's Tale with manual. I prefer Super C over Contra. Metroid Classic. You know, games like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Kabuki Quantum Fighter, Conquest of the Crystal Palace, and then several others like Star Tropics, Batman, Blaster Master, you know, games like Castle Quest, Time Lord, always a favorite. I mean, Ninja Gaiden Pro Wrestling, just a nice variety of stuff. $350 only. I mean, several of these I was really excited for, especially, you know, like Dragon Warrior 4, right, with the manual. And doing him a favor, because he was looking at just getting rid of it, just wanted to get rid of it, get it out of there. So if you're interested in any of these, I'm going to be doing a Whatnot stream sometime in the near future, so make sure you're following. And again, if you've never used Whatnot before, sign up for the first time using my link. You'll get $10 off your first winning auction. And I get $10 to maybe spend on your Whatnot stream, you never know. Which then brings us to this thing that we've been talking about since the beginning of the video. $1,700 for less games than came in that white box. The other box had like over 40 games. This one, not as many. And looking at the games in here too, I see Sesame Street games, there's the Fisher-Price games, like Ikari Warriors, 10-Yard Fight, Renegade, you know, like Super Glove Ball, you know, games like DuckTales and Hollywood Squares, games like The Little Mermaid and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. I mean, they're fun, but seriously, $1,700? And we have Chip's old copy of Legend of Zelda, The Adventure of Link. This is the Great Cart version. Clean copy of Lolo, love this game. I mean, Super Dodgeball, it's fun, but it's not worth $1,700. I mean, sure, every collection should have a copy of Mega Man 2. My favorite Mega Man game, by the way. Double Dragon 2, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, Darkwing Duck, a great game for any collection, but, I mean, again, Is it really that worth it? I mean, what, $1,700? Come on. All right, so we're getting a little bit closer with games like Chippendale 2. This is a really clean copy on this one, too. I mean, back label, look at this. This is great. We got Mickey's Safari in Letterland. Super obscure, not the most popular game in the world. Not that it has to be. Now, Numberland is the one you want to look out for. Numberland goes for a few bucks. This one, however, not as much. But still, is this game worth $1,700? The answer is no. But this one is. This one for sure is. Now, it's funny. This is the second time I've owned this game. The first time I purchased this game was when I was collecting a full NES set. This is probably back in 2012, maybe even closer to 2013. There was a pawn shop or game vendor in Peru, of all places, in Chile. And they had a bunch of NES games that had like damage, like label damage. However, they sold them for super cheap. And I bought this game from them back then. The label was all kind of ripped up, but the game was legit. That was good enough for me. Now, I had a friend of mine who didn't have it, and that was one of the last games that they were looking for their collection. We worked out a trade. It was a win-win situation, and sad to see it go. However, I'm happy that it went to a great home. And I figured that was just gonna be the last time I see it. You know, maybe at a convention or something like that, but I was just like, I'm happy letting it go. Again, if I want to play the game, I have a Mr. Raspberry Pi, so I have all these other ways to play all of these games, but to actually hold the actual physical artifact, no gloves or anything, I'm just like, this is very, very cool. And when my friend showed me his friend's collection and showed me some of the games that were on there, I mean, yeah, some of the other games are great. I mean, there's a lot of games in here too that are like really, really fun just to have. This one, of course, was the standout, and you know what? It's actually a fun game. If you've never played it before, it's actually a really fun game. And yes, this game alone, sometimes it sells for like $1,700. I've seen it fluctuate anywhere between, I mean, you could look up the eBay prices. You don't need to take my word for it. You can look it up yourself. Oh, here's me being curious. I'm gonna look it up on Price Charter of all things. Not that you should ever trust Price Charter with anything. Or Price Charting, sorry. Okay, so according to Price Charming, as of filming this video, loose price goes for $1,535, $1,535. Which again, ain't bad when you account this game along with Rescue Rangers 2 and some of the other games that are in there too. It all kind of adds up. Although I have seen this recently sell on eBay for, you know, between like $1,300 and $1,800, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. It all depends, of course. So am I holding on to this game? Not in the slightest. I don't need this game. Someone else might need this game more than me. Now, I don't think I'm going to put this on Whatnot, for instance. I might, but I'm always down for trade. So I may be bringing this to like conventions or open for other trades of other sorts and stuff like that too. I'm all about trading. If you don't have to use your own cash to fund your collection, that's the best way to do it. Never spend your own money on your own collection. Let the hobby pay for itself and trade off the things you don't need to get the things you do need. I just wish I needed something. First world problems, I'm sure. So this game, along with all these other games, that's why it was $1,700. And when I do sell most of the games that are in here on Whatnot, I'll be able to make some of that money back. I might even bring a couple of these to some future conventions. I'm slated for like 6 conventions between as of filming this to the end of the year. And yes, I bring my own homebrews and I bring my cereal book and all that too. It's nice to have like legit games too that people are looking for. Maybe give them a good deal on it, you know? And speaking of conventions, you'll find me the second weekend of July at Southeast Game Exchange. That's in Greenville, South Carolina. I'll be at Game On Expo the first weekend of August. I'll be at Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. That's coming up the second weekend of August. And it's gonna be back-to-back weekend conventions for me. Music City Multicon, the end of October. That's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. Really Rad Weekend. That's going to be the second weekend of November in Destin, Florida. That's on the Panhandle. And although nothing confirmed, I will probably be at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. I can drive there. It's an easy drive for me. So whether I'm a guest or not, it's always a fun time to hang out. Maybe I'll see you there.